You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Man, am I excited to talk to Dianna here.
Wow, that is overly exuberant there. What just happened? What just happened that I wasn't listening to and did not hear?
She shamed me before we joined here because I don't have enough energy when she joins normally, so I wanted to make sure I fixed that.
Well, she's got to be excited because she is sitting next to the #1 football podcast host in American football. 3 of the last 4 years. God bless football has arrived. Dianna, it has been lovely to watch the two of you, Maximum Stugotz, and watch you two in the wild. Tell me about schmoozing out there on Radio Row. We've been watching you, and it's been delightful.
Yeah, we've actually scared people away from our conversations over here. I've been spending the last 20 minutes catching up with Stu. There's no conversation about football or family. I've just been complaining to him for the last 20 minutes. So he's trying to help me here feel better about my space here on Radio Row.
She's been complaining about her set, Dan. She is not happy with her location here on Radio Row, and location is everything here on Radio Row. Super Bowl week. I have done a lay of the land. I know where everyone is situated. Dianna is not happy, but this is what Radio Row is all about. Right before she talked to me, she was cornered by Doug Kazarian. I mean, how about that?
And I'm stuck talking to Doug. I look at Stu. I go, that's it. My setup is the Doug Kazarian of setups. Like, it's just,
Why are we taking out Doug?
Dianna, has Stugotz promised you that he'll get you a better spot?
That is my setup. No, so here's my thought. There's not much I can do. Like, that's my colleague, Robert Mays. He's fantastic. He's got the football podcast on The Athletic. This is not a knock on Robert. Robert had nothing to do with this, but that's going to be the Scoop City setup. It's facing the bathroom.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, I can't even grab an athlete walking by, someone trying to sell a cart, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I mean, this is just prime real estate. You can see everything.
Well, this is the #1 football podcast in the world.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
All the action here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have guests walk up to our set and help decorate and maybe make it a little bit more electric. I've started already. I'm just going to hold this up. Scoop City, you can come by.
Dianna, you deserve better than this. You're hustling. You're in Mobile, Alabama last week. What is happening here? Who do the complaints go to? David, you've been making faces the whole time. Are you saying you feel like Diana's spoiled or something? Why are you making faces?
I just feel like the audience does not care about the setup, and they care about what you say, and they love you, and they love your show. And for you to MF your setup, it just didn't interest me. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, what our audience cares about is salary cap talk. That's exactly what it is that they care about. And by the way, leave Greg Cody alone. Is this what happens when me and Billy Gill aren't here? Everyone teams up and goes after the great, wonderful Greg Cody. I am outraged by this.
Didn't I just compliment him, by the way? Take that crap back.
And David, she just said that you bring so much to the show when we're talking about the salary cap, which is something we should never be talking about.
I really appreciate that you both are here, and we're sorry to have kept you waiting.
So Stugotz is not entirely wrong, and he's especially not wrong that when Billy goes out with the stomach flu and Stugotz disappears, I'm not joking, in the last break, he will tell you, Greg Cody will, I held him to my bosom gently, and told him, you know what, you've taken an unfair beating the last 2 hours because Billy and Stugotz are not here, and nobody is paying attention to where Greg Cody needs his feelings supported. And I held him to my bosom.
Yeah, awkward.
And he forgave me because I explained to him, but however, the last 2 hours have been really good. They've been bullying. They've been unfair. Right. David Sampson piled on. Not good for David Sampson. Not good for Cody. But David Sampson hit him in the face twice with the microphone while interviewing him. And thank you, Stugotz, for standing up for Greg Cody, because you're right. Can you tell me about the schmoozing out there? Can you tell me about, because we were watching you guys, and basically it seems like you're being paid to just meet people you really want to talk to.
Pretty much, Dan. Listen, I flew on a bird here. Jimmy Johnson was in the seat right in front of me. He was watching that Mormon show. We had a couple of Heinegens. It was delightful.
His texts are probably so huge.
So huge. And here's what he does, Chris. He holds his phone. Jimmy's getting old, but he looks great. He had a button-down shirt. He holds the phone in his pocket on the button-down shirt.
Love that move.
Oh, it's so great.
That's called I'm not caring about anyone trying to reach me, you know, if you're putting it up there.
Yeah. Ordered 2 Heinegens, first order, one Heineken.
You mentioned, and look, we really don't need to be this invasive on his privacy there.
I think it was Miller Lite.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I'm just telling you what the man ordered. And listen, I have run into Ryan Leaf. I've seen Andrew Perloff. I have seen everyone, Dan.
Wait a minute.
Really picking up steam.
Wait a minute. Wait. Andrew Perloff and Ryan Leaf is not a list of everyone. Stugotz.
That's McLovin for the uninitiated.
Stugotz, like that is bare minimum effort on just dropping names on people you've seen. Like, you're selling us Tuesday Super Bowl week. Who's there? Perloff and Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, but how about an airplane with Jimmy Johnson?
That's
great. That's pretty exciting. And Sean Merriman in the airport. I mean,
were you kicking the back of Jimmy's chair on the bird?
I was a little bit, yeah. I told Jimmy the scariest call I make is the call I make to his house every time Dan wants him on. He laughed at that. We had a moment. He gave me a fist bump, and then he got out of there. That was it. Excellent. That was the end of Jimmy.
That's good coverage. I'm glad that we've sent everybody there in order to get all of the information on the drinking habits of others. Dianna, is this week a bombardment of stimuli for you that you enjoy, or is it stressful?
Love it. Live for this. First of all, New Orleans is the best city. They should just have the Super Bowl here every single year. Yep. It's compact, it's close, it feels just like one big party in your town. I've only been here 24 hours and I'm saying this. The food's delicious. Everyone is just happy to be here. So I just think the energy, it's because it's so early in the week and you can feel it already. I can't imagine what this is going to be by Thursday and Friday. And just the fact that we start the week with a bomb of Myles Garrett asking for a trade, that was music to my ears because it actually was a little slow. There wasn't much going on. So now that becomes the thing everyone's talking about here.
Well, walk us through what that means. Just take us through. Myles Garrett exerting this means what's going to happen?
It means that the Browns are going to have to make a really hard decision. And I don't think anyone thinks this is going to be easy. In fact, I had somebody in the league share with me yesterday that they just think this could get really messy because this isn't about a new contract in Cleveland for Myles Garrett, right? Because we've seen players do this all the time where they just want to get paid by the team that they're on. We saw it with Brandon Ayuk. We saw it with Deebo Samuel. They threaten, they stay. Lamar Jackson threatens, they stay. This is about winning for Myles Garrett. This is about him wanting to go be part of an organization that is built towards winning and getting closer to it, a situation that he doesn't feel is happening in Cleveland. And look, when you think about what he has seen from his vantage point, and he's around these guys and he knows what their process is and he knows what this future is going to look like, you can understand why he's probably not psyched about the plan that the Browns have, knowing that this probably all went off course when they gave Deshaun Watson that deal.
The NFL is a league where teams can change their fortune from one season to the next. So for him to sort of speculate that the Browns will never have a shot, that he can't win there, I think there is money at stake here. And Dianna, I just would point out to all of the great listeners here that your sources don't care where you are situated on Radio Row.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, but she cares. I mean,
David, my issue with it is no one knows where I am, who I am, this is such a saturated place, and no one even knows where I work anymore. So I wanted something with just like even an ice cream truck.
You wanted to announce yourself. You wanted to announce
did.
yourself in your new gig.
Maybe I should get a band with like a marching band just around me.
But Dianna, hold on a second. Like, as someone who has admired your climb through the industry and the brave things you've done, correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory has been elusive on this. Wasn't the first year setup that we had at the Super Bowl something that made us feel small compared to what we used to have when we were at the Super Bowl, Stugotz? Because I was fairly awed by what we were able to do last year, at least in part because it represented a growth that stemmed from feeling exactly the way Dianna does today, which is like, man, we used to be a bigger thing, and here we landed a little softer than I would have liked.
So the first Super Bowl we did with Meadowlark a few years back, Dan, we were at a table right in the middle of the action. That's where I like to be. That's where all the local radio stations are. I have walked through that entire area. I'm throwing books at like Frisbees at tables, and they're promoting it for me, which I love it. Hey, they wave to me. Hey, Stugotz. But now we're on the outskirts. We're on the outside looking in, which I don't particularly like, but it is beautiful. And that means you've graduated to one of the biggest shows, and in my case, the biggest show, biggest football show in America, in the history of American football. So Dianna is upset. She's upset because she is facing the bathrooms and the smoking area. That is not where you want to be, Super Bowl week, Radio Row. Perhaps in 2 years, Dan, she will graduate to where I've graduated to.
Yeah,
yes,
great.
Right.
My view will be you smoking cigs, just taking down a couple heaters in between some of your interviews.
Yeah, but Dan's saying there are steps to this.
Oh, Michael Pittman's at my step.
Oh,
I got a guest.
Dan, Super Bowl Radio Row.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Fitz is walking by. I mean, oh my God, what is happening? Oh, I love this place.
Dianna, I feel like a set facing a bathroom may be actually prime real estate.
I'm with you. Everyone pees.
Everybody pees. Maybe they're in there a little longer than that.
You know what?
And when they're walking out of the bathroom, who do they see?
You might have gotten the primest real estate there is, Dianna,
correct.
because put it on the poll. Does everyone pee at Le Batard Show? I believe that is like anyone who comes through that facility who has to go to the bathroom. If you tell me, hey, what can you have on Radio Row? That or the field? I think I take that. I think I take the bathroom because that's where the guests will be at some point, at least in part to avoid nasty Nestor from Baltimore.
Yeah, let's do this. I know I'm not scheduled to come on this Friday because you'll have big name guests, but maybe I'll pop on for about 4 minutes and just give you an update of how my week went. The first time representing Scoop City here on Radio Row at the bathroom. Poop City. That's what I should change my name.
Yes, that's good. That's it. Poop City.
Just keep
Yes.
Call your show that the entire week.
Yes, change all of your graphic imaging and change it to Poop City this week from the Super Bowl.
I want to see the report that Sal Pal's been to the bathroom 3 times in the last hour. I want something like that.
Maybe that's the play, is to just keep track of everyone's bathroom habits and just give updates throughout. Like today, I'm interviewing Kirk Cousins and Drake May, and while I'm interviewing, stop the interview with Kirk Cousins after I ask him what the heck is he going to do next year. Be like, quick update for you here. Pat McAfee just went to the bathroom for the 4th time in the last hour. So, Kirk, tell me more about what this experience is like. Do you have any
that's
friends
good.
that you
That's
didn't stay in
good.
Minnesota?
Yes.
Did you feel like you ever got a little too greedy?
Yeah.
Because now you're in a position where you're going to probably be in Cleveland.
Yes, Poop City is great, and I think what you also need to do is give us invasive reports from the Super Bowl of who's in there too long.
Yes,
like you should put a mic in there.
I mean, Golick's been in there for a half hour.
Yeah, who's been in there too long? Because that's an unpleasant place. David Sampson would never use that bathroom that way. There could be nothing happening in David Sampson's life that would make him use the Radio Row bathroom.
Which is why if you're Billy Gill, you got a problem. Because Billy Gill, Diana, is going to be near you at all times, like 8 times a day.
Yeah, he's
not feeling good, just so you know. Billy ill, yes.
Yes, Stugotz, where are we with this? Because one of the key things Billy does while at Radio Row is rein you in. So how problematic is it going to be, or how much better is God Bless Football going to be? Because now we've got Stugotz who can be less controlled.
God Bless Football is never better if Billy's not here. That's just not the case. But Jenny is here, Dan, and you are familiar with Jenny. And she will not let me walk 15 feet away from this place because I like to roam around Radio Row. I got to see Doggy. I got to see Dianna. I got to be cornered by Doug Kazari, and that's what this week is all about for me. But Jenny won't let me have it, and so
she's an assassin.
Yeah.
Jenny.
You asked me. You were texting me about coming on. It wasn't for this. It was to come be on your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm busy.
Okay, Jenny is really in charge out there. I hope that
He has a lot of guests.
I don't know how many people.
Everyone's got to poop.
I don't know how many Meadowlark employees we have out there, but you guys were listening when we were talking about Cooper Kupp. I don't know what the main storyline is after Myles Garrett. I imagine that game storylines aren't quite in play yet. So when it comes to Cooper Kupp and that, are we so now numb to the transaction that nationally, a receiver who for 1 year was a record-breaking receiver unlike almost any we'd ever seen, who connects very well with Stafford, that his career with the Rams is over and it's just this overtly about money and he doesn't really want it to be over? Like, does it matter at all that he won a championship there?
Yeah, it does matter. But let's just go back to the time right before the trade deadline. I think I was actually on the show telling you about how the Rams were calling around to different teams to move him, right? And so he obviously found out about that. So he's known his time with LA was coming to an end. If they were showing that kind of interest, and look, the Rams came out and said, no, we're not dealing him. And I think it got a little messy in terms of the communication. And David, you could speak to it better than any of us about what the best process is when you're inquiring, right? I don't think they were full on shopping Cooper Kupp, but I can tell you there were 3 different teams that had conversations with the Rams about their interest in trading for him before the trade deadline. And I don't think Cooper knew of it. And I think after that moment, and if you remember right before the trade deadline, the Rams weren't great. I understood why that front office was looking to move him at the time. Obviously, the other side to this is the fact that he's been there for 7 years. He helped win them a Super Bowl. He's loved in that organization. So I think after that moment and since then and understanding the future for them, I think both sides know it's over and they both want to go in different directions despite the fact that they've had such a great time together.
Every great run comes to an end.
I understand that every great run comes to an end, but I also understand somewhere in our obsession with the transaction where it's okay to point out, I understand how Cooper Kupp would be hurt by all of that. Like, yes, I know it's tons of money and I know it's business, and I also understand why he wouldn't love at the end that the organization would chew him up like that, even understanding that the organization doesn't really owe him anything other than a paycheck.
Yeah, I don't think players think that way, actually. I think that it is the exception, not the rule. I think players are very understanding. In terms of communication at the deadline, I was an executive who would communicate with my players when we were talking about them at the deadline and just tell them the truth. Yeah, of course, there are people calling on you. You're a good player. You want people to call on you in baseball.
Yeah, but he wants to remain there, does he not, Dianna? Do you not understand why he'd be hurt about this? I'm not surprised that David would go maximum business on this. An employee's allowed to have human feelings.
No, I agree. But David, what about the positions you were in when you were just interested to see what that market would be, that maybe you decide not to even tell the player about it because it's just light conversations. You're just trying to get a feel. Did that ever happen? And did you think that the player would need to be told that even if it was just flirting?
Yeah, there's a lot of flirting. It's like trying to see how much your house is worth and then pretending that you're rich because your house has gone up, but you're not actually monetizing it, so you don't have the money. We would often say, hey, what would you give for Stanton? Like, how badly would you want him? And I wouldn't go to Giancarlo with conversations like that because you're having those talks every day. Really, with other teams on all sorts of players.
I would assume that is kind of how it is that Luka ends up happening somewhere in there in the confusion of everything that happened there. Stugotz, what can you tell people? Because you're about to take over for the entire week. God Bless Football is celebrating itself, and football for the next 3 days in a way that I will say is gluttonous and flatulent and wonderful and award-winning. And so you're going to basically start the Super Bowl party as soon as you stop now. What are you looking forward to over the course of the week?
I am looking forward to every get. First off, I'm looking forward to seeing Christopher Mad Dog Russo because really Radio Row doesn't start until Mad Dog walks in. But Dan, we are loaded. I mean, I am telling you, I am looking forward to Justin Pugh. I am looking forward to Reggie Bush, Ed Reed, Vernon Davis, Victor Cruz. Puka Nakua is going to join us. Greg, we're going to play him your song.
Yes. Again?
I am very excited.
Yeah, you remember that.
Yes.
Those are good guests.
And we have Funny Marco, of course. So.
Send him to the bathroom. Tell him to stop by my side.
Did Dianna just get jealous about about the GBF guests? Is that
No
what
way.
we just witnessed?
No way.
I mean, she has cousins in May, okay?
I got one of the best rookie quarterbacks coming on my show today. I gotta go prep, actually.
Right, and I got Funny Marco. I mean, so.
Well, and you have Bloody Mary. You have, don't forget that if Billy Gill gets better, Bloody Mary and whatever it is you guys are doing, you guys are resuscitating Don Shula, are you not? I don't want to spoil too much here, but.
I think you've said enough. Diana, are you going to play May or May not with Drake May?
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
Is that a game? Is that a thing?
Yeah, may or may not, of course.
All
Right.
do it. Thanks
Series
for
of
the idea.
questions, may
That's
or may
a
not.
fine.
May means yes, may not means no. Just okay.
Thanks for being clear.
You got
Chris,
it.
thanks for the idea.
Mhm.
Good contribution.
Diana, are you indeed jealous of Stugotz's guest list? No, you can't be. You must not be.
She's jealous of my setup, Dan. That's it. That's all.
I understand, especially as a woman, how ugly jealous can look on you. So I'm trying to contain myself, but I'm staring over at Kay Adams' set, and it looks like a palace. Right? She's got couches. She's got a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a stylist over there. Someone's massaging her feet right now. I don't even have an outlet over there. I can't charge people. You know, so. Look, I got to get over this.
You got a bathroom, though.
I am going to think about David this whole day, though. It's about the quality of these interviews, what I'm sharing with the listeners. No one cares if my nails are a cool color because I had someone do it for Super Bowl week. They care about the inside, the intel. So, David, thank you for it.
Look, I want everyone to know, okay, and I will say this publicly. I don't mind saying it. I know this is going to be so. Dianna Russini and Poop City are going to kick the ass of Adams all week long. All week. She'll have her couches and she'll get her celebrity guests and everybody will interact in a way that's fun and fine, but it won't have the information that Dianna Russini will get on Poop City. I'm willing to say that in front of everybody.
All right. Well, we will see you. You are really putting me to the test.
It will when you go on Kay Adams' show, though, right?
I've never been invited.
You're invited, trust me.
No, you can't offer that invitation. You don't have that power over Kay Adams. I don't think you realize what a rising star in the business she is. And
I do. Yeah. She's fantastic. But her producer already asked me, hey, can you get me, not me, can you get me Dianna Russini?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because you became my booker all of a
You're
sudden.
the booking agent for Diana Stu?
I mean, look at her setup. She has no one here with her. She's by herself. I mean, someone treat her with respect. I deserve it. I deserve it.
Make up these stories. You're supposed to be just lies on top of lies with more lies. So many lies.
So I am appreciative.
Shut up. They're always in my head.
So many lies.
Your mics are still hot, Stu and Diana.
Wouldn't be able to find her if she walked right past him.
Diana should have a big guest called urinate or defecate.
Okay,
urinate
so
or defecate.
Urinate or defecate.
She needs to go.
That is a good guest.
I'll
Good luck.
what do you guys want to hear from Kirk Cousins since we're producing all my stuff?
I want Kirk Cousins on the show is what I want.
Urinate or defecate.
Yes, that we can start with urinate or defecate with Kirk Cousins and then just ask him, hey, that was pretty funny the way that happened. They gave you all that money and then your career was over after 8 games.
You can ask whether he pees in the shower.
Yep.
Actually, how do you feel about this? I think this is the most fun game that you can play anywhere in sports.
Kirk or jerk?
No, that's a good one. Kirk or jerk. Kirk or jerk is a good one. But I want to do. Would you attend their funeral? Is what I want to do with David Sampson, and I want to see if I can play this with Dianna Russini. It's hard to play it with liars. Okay, so I don't think I should play it with Stugotz. The thing that makes it difficult is that people. David Sampson is very good at, he'll tell you the truth even if it's uncomfortable. And so when I ask you, would you attend the funeral of Glenn Geffner? What is your answer? Marlins broadcaster Glenn Geffner, how long was he in your employ as a broadcaster for the Marlins?
For many, many years, but he then went rogue against Bruce Sherman and Derek Jeter when he got fired. And so I would Zoom into Glenn Geffner's funeral, but I would not attend in person.
Wow.
So he went into the middle stage from no chance to a Zoom to attend.
Dianna Russini, do you want to play this game? Would you like
She
to
doesn't
play?
know who Glenn Geffner is.
No. I'm not going to ask her about Glenn Geffner. I'm going to ask her somebody for her, Stugotz.
Okay.
No,
all right.
Dan, I want to
Making
play this
sure.
game because I've thought about stuff like this, but I have to preface it with the answer is going to probably be yes to anyone. Because I'm an Italian Catholic that lives in the Northeast, and it's a hobby to attend funerals for my people. It's just like what you do. Like everyone in my family goes to everyone's wake. I'm like,
so do Jews, Diana, but the game doesn't call for that.
I don't believe that you would. So let me ask you this question. You're saying you would go to the funeral of Jeff Darlington?
I'd speak at it.
No, you wouldn't.
Even if not asked.
How many?
What if there was a big story you were pursuing?
Forgive me. No, this was.
I'd go cover the story. Take a selfie too.
My bad. I did not obviously know that Jeff Darlington was your best friend. That was not something I was aware of. Of course.
I thought it was me. Yeah.
That ends up being a bad question. David Sampson, would you attend the funeral of longtime Marlins broadcaster Craig Minervini?
Minnie in the midday.
Minnie, no. I enjoyed playing cards with him. I enjoyed him. He does a good job. No. I would not. Sorry, Craig.
I am sorry, Greg. Would you, David Sampson, attend the funeral of longtime Marlins broadcaster Rich Waltz?
Oh, wow.
No.
What?
No, I would not. I'm sorry that he will be dead, but I will not attend it. You guys all lie during this game. It's
well, let's see. Diana, would you attend the funeral of Adam Gase?
Yeah, that's my best friend. I'd probably speak at it. I would.
This is an outrage.
This is the game gets ruined when you play it this way.
We're learning David's the only one that can play this game.
No, what Dan is learning is that Diana is me. That's why we get along so well.
Mike Vrabel, you'll attend his funeral?
Absolutely. He
okay, you
said
stink.
yes to every interview.
Poop City. Go where you find Diana stinking. Poop City, over by the bathroom on Radio
If you
Row.
do something for me,
Thank you, guys. I
awake.
appreciate it.
Yes to all your interview
They're so
requests.
similar. They're
Keep
so
it nice,
similar.
I'll handle it.
Stugotz and Dianna, they're disturbingly similar.
I don't think Stu would go to anybody's funeral, though. He would not be inconvenienced.
He will say, well, I also don't think that Diana has been going to funerals nonstop all year. Like, I don't think that Diana actually attends as many funerals as she alleges on the air. But I may have that wrong. She really befouled that game. The game has not worked with anybody but David Sampson. I'd like to play.
Guillermo came to Atlanta to cover the Super Bowl, and after beating the Freeze in a race at Truist Park.
You got to be kidding me. It's still going. That speech in Cartersville, Billy is still looking that kind of awkward.
He did beat the Freeze. And Ken, while we're talking about Billy Gill, let me remind people that you can join the last one of the season, GBF's weekly contest, dkng.co/Smirnoff, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. Dan, for the Super Bowl, are you going to be playing this week?
I will not be. I will not be participating in the Listener League again this week. I hope Billy Gill is. He will tough it out no matter his state, because this is
he will.
This is a difficult circumstance that he finds himself in.
Stugotz here. I want to tell you a story. I'm serious here. My wife and my 2 daughters, they begged me to buy a Peloton. So I bought a Peloton. And then I watched that Peloton sit in my office and stare at me. So you know what I did one day? I looked at it. And so I decided to get off my ass, and I jumped on the Peloton because no one else was using it, and I paid for it. I mean, so why not? Then I realized eventually that they bought it for me. And I got to tell you, way more challenging than I could have ever imagined. Peloton coaches are walking the walk. I love the coaches. I do the Grateful Dead one. It's fantastic. They have a sub-3-hour marathon runner, military-trained athletes, a former college basketball player, and so many other well-rounded coaches on their team. All this experience really shows in their classes, which are never short of challenging, especially for me. So I jumped on it that first time. It was challenging, more challenging than I thought, and then I wanted to beat the bike, and so I kept jumping on it, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm the only one who uses it, but again, they got it for me. I mean, I had no idea. That's a little passive-aggressive, don't you think? Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan. It is Big Game Week, and I've got just the thing to make your big game time a Miller time. From fireside conversations to football Sundays, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and great tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, so when you're hosting your ultimate game day party, why don't you bring out a beautiful silver platter of that amazing white can and know you will make everybody there happy, because Miller Lite is the original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Friends, it's Jer Bear, and you know that I'm obviously a bit of the romantic type, and Valentine's Day is coming up. And for me, there's only one place that I trust. 1-800-Flowers.com. Every year, I order stunning, high-quality bouquets from 1-800-Flowers that my wife absolutely loves. And this year, I'm partnering with 1-800-Flowers to make sure you're a Valentine's hero with an exclusive offer for my listeners. Double the roses for free. When you buy 1 dozen, they'll double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. It's the perfect way to say, I love you, without breaking the bank. Trust me, 1-800-Flowers always delivers. In the Batard studios, we received a beautiful arrangement of long stem red roses, accompanied in an hourglass red vase. They're timeless, luxurious, and romantic. A must-have this Valentine's Day. And seeing and smelling the freshness of that bouquet as I walk into work every day has me prepared for any hate that Dan may throw my way. To claim your Double Your Roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.
Dan Le Batard.
Surely every time you're watching this, you recognize that your wife is laughing that she married
Yes.
Larry David.
Yeah, I do, yeah. One of the great characters in the history of television, in my humble opinion. And to my credit, my personality...
In my humble opinion, followed by to my credit.
To my credit.
It's amazing.
My personality
it's just amazing.
does predate Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Stugotz.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to say Larry David patterned himself after me.
All right, put it on the poll, please, Juju. Did Greg Cody copyright being an asshole long before Larry David?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
There's something here I have not talked about for 3 days, and I'm curious about how it's being covered, because I don't actually know how it's being covered. But I know that since Friday, this has been something that's available as a talking point. And if I'd been watching all of the coverage on Deshaun Watson, I would wonder why there isn't more coverage on what's happening and being alleged on Justin Tucker in Baltimore, where it's 9 women, 5 spas, and one would assume on the allegations, one would assume that he didn't have the great misfortune on what's being alleged of being caught every time he's doing this. So we've got something that is big and might be growing. And we've also seen that the coverage does not have nearly the intensity that the Deshaun Watson coverage has had. And a lot of people are going to notice, oh, it's the quarterback being famous versus the kicker. And a lot of people are going to notice, oh, it's the black guy versus the white guy. A lot of people are going to notice it's the first guy versus the second guy. But this kind of deviance and predatory behavior is something that I'm negligent in not talking about for 3 days, but I also do want to see as many facts as I can, and I don't think I can lend any benefit of the doubt on these allegations when there are this many and many different people, and there are receipts. Like, it would go to you'd be going to a great length to concoct all of this. And I think the day and age is gone where you can dismiss this as gold digging when you have multiple accusers. This is a Baltimore icon who is presently, through allegations, my guess is, falling in disgrace right now in a way that's very different than Deshaun Watson did in moving from another city and to another city as hope. This is a guy who had a terrible season as maybe the best kicker ever. I don't know where these allegations align with that. It's secondary to what it is that we're talking about. But I do know that it's not being covered with the same intensity. That can't be disputed, correct?
I totally agree with you. I've been following this the last several days, and it's very incriminating evidence. And the benefit of doubt for me goes to the multiple women who are accusing, and the women don't know each other. There's no sign of a conspiracy here. And Justin Tucker, we're talking about one of the few place kickers who's on a Hall of Fame path. Like, this is arguably, notwithstanding the rough season he had last year, this is probably the greatest kicker active, if not ever, and it should be getting more attention. And I really wonder if his NFL career survives this. I really have doubts about that.
But Dan, we had a show on Friday. I wasn't here, so I'm pretty sure you guys didn't talk about it, but like, you control the topics that we talk about on the show. So if you're going to sit here and wonder why it's not getting the same coverage, I think you should probably explain why you chose not to talk about it on Friday.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It was a 2-hour show, and I wanted more information to come in, and more information did come in over the weekend. But that doesn't excuse
the Baltimore banner story was very detailed and had a lot of information in it. I don't think you can write it off as like, well, let's wait and see what happens next. Like, what happened next was that he put out a statement, said none of it was true, and that it was, all bullshit, and then 3 more massage therapists came forward and said, no, this happened to us too. And one of them had like a paper she allegedly wrote many years ago talking about it to her boss. So like, yeah, that information's
totally fair.
Corroborates it, but the initial reporting was also very solid.
I can take that criticism, and it's fair, and I'm apologizing for it on the front end in not getting to it. And it's an easy trick to do to castigate others for behavior that I, too, am guilty of. But it's hard not to notice what has happened since in the reaction. What are you shaking your face about, David?
That I don't want you to castigate yourself for not covering it. I covered it on Nothing Personal, and then something else came up, so I tried to cover it again. But we're in an exercise where you've got 300 minutes for a 50-minute show. And the thing with Justin Tucker, it is a completely different allegation than what the allegations were against Deshaun Watson. Completely different. And it is Justin Tucker I don't think survives. I think that he will be let go by the Ravens because his performance tailed off this year. But I don't want to compare this to the Deshaun Watson. It's equal. It's horrible, and he doesn't deserve. No woman deserves to have that done to them in a massage. But the allegations against Watson were far different, and I pointed that out on the show. And I don't think maybe that was a factor in you not.
I don't know what far different though. Deshaun
Watson was accused of sexual assault.
Yeah. There were some different allegations also, but I think the similar thread is that in both situations you have men in very powerful positions that are behaving inappropriately and making women uncomfortable that are hired to work for them. So yeah, the comparison I think is fair in that it's in a similar situation, a similar setting.
The number of people who go and get happy endings, obviously, there's a power dynamic, whether you're Justin Tucker or whether you are Robert Kraft or whether you are Mr. Anonymous going to one of the massage places. The fact is, when you go for that, when it's not the atmosphere where happy endings happen, that's when the issue happens. Because there are plenty of massage places where you go and everyone knows what the price of entry is. And so my thing with Justin Tucker is that he was getting massages. The thing I didn't know is, were they in those sort of spas where that's happening? Because Deshaun Watson was getting them done purportedly as sports massages, and he was then assaulting the women. And I don't know if Justin Tucker was at one of the strip mall places.
I mean, based on the reporting, no, it seems like this was a situation that none of these people wanted to be a part of. So
it's 9 women, 5 spas, and one would assume it's just the ones who have come forward.
I don't know if any statute of limitations is involved in this situation, because most of the allegations did occur from roughly 2012 through 2016. However, we don't know yet what the ramifications are going to be. We don't know yet about possible civil suits arising from this. When I mention statutes of limitations, I don't know about criminal charges arising, but we haven't heard the end of this story.
Well, it would assume that it's the beginning of it, but once this story arrived as Deshaun Watson, the intensity was fierce and immediate, and then only grew over time. Here, the intensity has not been fierce and immediate, and Justin Tucker, there are a number of reasons for that, right? It can be.
But Dan, I hear you, but also Deshaun Watson signed the biggest contract in NFL history after the allegations against him.
That's right. And he's more famous, but and what? And so there's money involved as well. Yes. And
I don't know. I get your point that we talked about him more because he's a starting quarterback, but He got suspended 11 games. He also is getting paid like $230 million.
but
so
you-
the consequences here are sort of, trade-off. I don't know.
Well, you do understand, though, I mean, it doesn't escape anyone's attention, right? Why it is that black people would notice the differences between the intensity of the coverage on the two things. And maybe it's money, or maybe it's a color of a different kind.
I think we should 100% be covering both, and that's why I started this segment by saying, why didn't we talk about this on Friday?
I think what we've mentioned is absolutely true. It's black and white, it's quarterback and place kicker, and I think a lot of people are also very wrongly downplaying Justin Tucker because it did happen 8-10 years ago. I don't think that's accurate.
Wait, what's the point of that, though? What is the distinction that we're making there between, what's the statute of limit? I don't think there's a statute of limitations on some of this stuff.
Right. I'm not forgiving it. I'm trying to explain it a little bit. I think if all of these allegations were current and had happened in the past few months, there would naturally be more.
I don't think that's
not
much of a
right,
difference.
Greg. It's not right, but
let me stop you and just ask you to
don't
think
agree with
about
that?
this. No, because half of the allegations from the Me Too movement and what they did in New York, which was opening up the right for women to say, hey, this happened to me 20 years ago. We're going to toll the statute of limitations and make this year open for you to allege and get some sort of, if you can, some sort of payback for what happened to you way back in the day.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter when it occurred. And often the
I
rule of
agree.
statute of limitations is 5 years from discovery of an act.
Okay.
When you remember an abuse,
Right.
then
And
it
also,
starts
there
tolling.
haven't been any civil suits filed in this case. And to David's point, there haven't been any criminal charges yet.
And there may be.
I mean, well, this is, if I recall correctly on how it is that it happened with Deshaun Watson, is that once the whistleblowers come forward, the way that this tends to escalate is there is a rallying cry from an attorney where a number of different women then come forward with the freedom, permission, courage, strength to do the same thing because, if you had to guess here, what are you holding over your ears for, David Sampson? What's happening?
We were just talking back here.
Okay.
I'm sitting back here saying, I just don't know. Do we do this conversation well? I'm asking the question. Maybe that's why it's just if you're going to have this serious conversation, are you moving the conversation? Are we adding to it? It's just, I don't know if we do this well. So I almost am glad that we don't. And maybe we should be drawing more attention to these things. Maybe that's not a good job by us as well. It's just...
What's the way to do it well?
I don't know.
Don't be scared, Chris.
I think the way to do it well is not to start the segment with people aren't talking about this when you didn't talk about it on Friday. That would not be how I would have started the conversation. I would start the conversation with, here is another athlete that's been accused of doing something terrible, and why are we constantly in the position where women are being allegedly taken advantage of in these situations, and why does our society allow this to continue to happen?
I was saying in general more.
That would have been a good way to do it.
I don't mean us. I'm not talking about specifically this show. I mean in general. Does anyone talk about this well?
That would have been a good way to do it.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan. It is Big Game Week, and I've got just the thing to make your big game time a Miller time. From fireside conversations to football Sundays, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and great tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, and when you're hosting your ultimate game day party, why don't you bring out a beautiful silver platter of that amazing white can and know you will make everybody there happy because Miller Lite is the original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Friends, it's Jer Bear, and you know that I'm obviously a bit of the romantic type, and Valentine's Day is coming up. And for me, there's only one place that I trust. 1-800-Flowers.com. Every year, I order stunning, high-quality bouquets from 1-800-Flowers that my wife absolutely loves. And this year, I'm partnering with 1-800-Flowers to make sure you're a Valentine's hero with an exclusive offer for my listeners. Double the roses for free. When you buy 1 dozen, they'll double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. It's the perfect way to say, I love you, without breaking the bank. Trust me, 1-800-Flowers always delivers. In the Batard studios, we received a beautiful arrangement of long stem red roses, accompanied in an hourglass red vase. They're timeless, luxurious, and romantic. A must-have this Valentine's Day. And seeing and smelling the freshness of that bouquet as I walk into work every day has me prepared for any hate that Dan may throw my way. To claim your Double Your Roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.